What's up? So, I've heard this many times from different animators, so if you're feeling lost when starting a new animation, perspective grids feeling confusing or intimidating, poses looks flat or unconvincing, no clear starting structure for animation, weak construction causing flat drawings, I'm going to show you by designing these poses over here, a chihuahua, giant mutant chihuahua attacking a giant air fryer. I'm going to show you how we start an animation with clarity, how to find the horizon line of your scene, how to draw a simple, usable perspective grid, how to push bricks properly without breaking them, how to draw professional level poses, and how to make your drawings feel super 3D. Enjoy the video. Guys, time to start a new scene. Look, this is how the scene looks when I open everything. I imported the rigs, and what I've done here is collect all the poses that I've been working during all of these scenes and put it on the rig, just adding those poses to the rig. So if at any moment in any specific scene I need a pose that is closer to any of the poses that I already polished, that I already designed before, I can totally reuse those. So let's get started. The first thing that I do is grab all the rig and move it towards the left out of the length of this scene. So this scene have how many frames? 28 frames. So I'm moving all of these out of those 21st 8 frames. Boom, and then move it out here. Now, let's look at the animatic. What do we have in the animatic? Look at that. We have the dog biting the arm of the air fryer, and the other dog also biting the other arm of the air fryer. Bam, bam. That's it. That's the scene. That's the scene. And what I have to do right now using this animatic is create a perspective grid. So I'm going here into this layer that I created named grid, and I'm going to grab another brush like this marker 2 brush, and with this one I'm going to start creating the perspective grid. I'm going to grab a red color to see like where's my horizon line is going to be. Now, every time that I approach a scene, one of the most important things is being aware of the 3D space that all this character exists within, so I can create or design each pose in a very solid way, grounded in this 3D perspective world. Cool? So I have some clues here, and this is the body of the character, and I'm seeing the top of the body of the character, and I'm seeing the top of the head of the air fryer. That means that the our horizon line will not be behind, will not be below that thing. So the horizon line might be up here. Cool. And even I will say like the horizon line will be out of the camera view. So if I'm aware of that, I'm going to create a horizontal line. I'm going to extend this line, and this is going to be my horizon line, and I'm going to put it around here. Cool. And then this is my HL, my horizon line, and I need two vanishing points. First vanishing point, second vanishing point, BP2, BP1. And from the BP1 and BP2, I'm going to start creating this perspective grid. So a super easy trick is to find these corners of the screen, and I'm going to throw my first line of this grid towards that corner just to have a clue. And then from this corner towards this corner, I measure the half. This is something that I do that I eyeball. So here, for example, will be the half. So boom, I draw the other line there. And then eyeballing all of this, I'll be like the half between this and this, and the half between this and this, something around there and around there. And that's the thought. That's the thought process. That is what is happening inside of my head when I'm designing this perspective grid. Look at that. Boom. And now in the middle between those two, and then in the middle between those two, and then in the middle between those two. Boom. And that's an okay amount of lines that I need. Let me get rid of these things that I did here. I'm going to duplicate, hold Alt, drag, and then just oops, you didn't saw what I click here. I click this thing here to flip this thing. Boop, 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 boop. Cool. And then I'm going to locate this on the vanishing point number 2. Awesome. That's my grid. Now I'm feeling that this should be a little bit higher. So I'm just moving, grabbing everything and moving until I found the perfect spot that matches the animatic that I designed. And something like that will work really well. Cool. So now, what else do I need? Do I need something else? Do I need a third vanishing point? In case that I need a third vanishing point, I can add here another line, and then I have to think. My vanishing points here will be something like this, or will be something like this. So here, the easiest thing to troubleshoot that is like, if this is a box, look at this character here. If this is a box, this box will be doing something like this. So the vanishing point, I can draw a third vanishing point here down, but to be honest, I don't need it. If I need it, I'll add it. But to be honest, I can already create boxes around this, because this character will exist here. Look, my brother just hacked my Spotify, so I have to go back and change, and boom, this computer, take it out of his computer. Awesome. Now this box will go this way, and this way, following these lines. Dude, what the heck are you listening, dude? Peso Pluma, get out of here. This is a little fight that I'm having with my brother to take him out of the Spotify. Cool. And then if I have a straight lines, the straight lines will be just straight. So the lines that goes this way and this way will follow the perspective grid, but all the straight lines will go just straight down. Bam, bam, bam. Cool. So that's the main idea. That's the reason I created all of these perspective grids. So I'm going to reduce the opacity of this grid and start designing my poses. But before starting designing my poses, where's the first step that I've been doing throughout all of this series of these videos? Yes, blocking the rig first. Now, you know what? I'm going to show you how I do this from the start, like with this view, with the 3/4 view. Boop. I'm going to grab it and put it here. Bam. And now what I'm going to do is, let me grab this. So these visual pegs that I have around, let me bring here a color card so you can see this better. This is going to help me to have this top part of the character. I'm going to move this like this. Bam, bam, bam. Boom, look at that. And then I can grab these, squash, stretch, skew to get to that point. Oops, no. It's a 3/4 back. So I'm going to grab this one here and paste it here. And again, same thing. Bam. Now I'm going to grab this, move this here. Boom. To create that sense of depth. And then I'm going to polish this as I move forward on the process. And my process is the following. I do a blocking pass, a super rough blocking pass like you're seeing right now. Super, super fast to establish where all of these pieces are going to be. And then I use draw overs to design the pose, to make it look badass. Where are the eyes? For example, here's one of the eyes, and I'm going to grab that eye over there. And then I'm going to move this towards the camera. So move it towards the front. Go, 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 go. No, it's not moving forward. Wait. No. Ah, what the heck I select? Oh, okay. Let's go back, because I have to select the master pick of the eye. So I'm pressing Command Z like crazy until I go back. So okay, let's say that I press enough Command Z. I'm going to grab this, move the head to reveal the eye. Once I grab the master peg of the eye, now I can see I have a handle here to grab the eye, so I can just go back and select this visual peg or this handle to select the eye. Then I stretch, I move it around. Boom, there you go, something like that. Let me clean a little bit this. Awesome. And then these dots that are part of the back, I will flip it, move it around there. This shadow, I will also move this shadow around here. Oopsie. There you go, something like that. This is the line that defines the turning edge of the character. So I'm going to move it around there. Awesome. And so you can see, I don't care too much about having a perfect shapes, perfect clean shapes right now. I'm right now focusing on blocking the character. Boom, look at that. Cool. I'm blocking this character. Bam. Boom, that's it. Where's the other arm? Here. This one will go behind the character, bum, flip it, move it around, and then move this like this. There you go. And then I'll create new hand layers for those, for the hands as I move forward. Awesome. Now these I will move very roughly, very fast, these lines to create a contour lines that goes this way. And then I'll do the same here. Boom. What the heck is this? The booty. That's the booty. So I'm going to grab the booty, flip it, and put it around there. I will see if I need it later. But for now, let's do something. No, let's take it out of here first for now. Cool. This is the penis of the robot. I might need it later, so I'll move it, flip it, and put it around there. But I'm also thinking, like, do I actually need this? Because this thing will be in the front, so let's just hide it around there. Cool. That's the first blocking of this character. Let's block the Chihuahua. So for the Chihuahua, I'm going to grab this three-quarter pose, paste it here, and then I'm going to move it behind the robot. So I'm going to put it, press Alt and press the arrow key pointing up to put it behind the character of the robot. There you go, it's there. And then I'm going to find a head of this character that looks closer to what I have there. Maybe something like this. So I'm going to select all the group of the neck and the head, copy and paste it here, boom, and make this smaller. Make this smaller, move it around until I put it somewhere around here. You'd be like, Henry, that doesn't look correct. Yeah, I know. I'm just blocking stuff. Where's the visual peak of this? Is around here. Cool. Something around there will be. Oh, let me block this color card that I'm selecting like crazy. Yeah, this will be around there. This dude over here we're not seeing, so the neck will be out of the frame, something like this. So I can grab all of these, move my camera around to stretch this neck like that out of the frame. The head of the character, we're not seeing the head of this character here, so I might just grab all of this, oopsie, grab only the head, move it out there. Awesome. And then this dude, we need an open mouth, so I'm going to look for an open mouth of this dude. This one will work. This one will work better. Yeah, this is badass. Any of this. So I'm going to select. Going to select this and paste it at the first frame. Boom. Something like that. Cool. And this I will flip the other way. Boom. And this is my basic blocking pass. And with this basic blocking pass, I can now start designing all the poses. Let me take the animatic towards the corner so you can see how is that I start. This is how everything starts. And you will see like it's messy, it's ugly. But with this, I have enough to start designing the pose. Cool. So I'm going to put the animatic again full here. And I'm going to start moving the parts of the character around to fit to cover the animatic a little bit. The leg will be around here. The other leg will be around here. And I'm thinking about the silhouette so I don't overlap too many stuff around. This will disappear. And this other leg could be around here. Awesome. Now let me grab the head of this dude and start moving this thing around. I have to do some stuff here. For example, I'll move this one here like this. I'll move this one around like this. I can start moving super roughly, super fast the deformers. following the animatic, something like that. Boom. So I'm going to block this really fast. Now, something that I'm noticing here is that the head is cutting with the neck. So what I'm going to do is duplicate the head and put the, look at this, timeline view. What I'm going to do is duplicate the head, and once I duplicate the head, I'm going to grab the line art and paste it on the overlay layer. And then I'm going to create here an overlay layer node, and this overlay layer node, I'm going to be like, hey dude, I want this overlay layer to be on top of everything. There you go. Let me see how this affects the other frames. It doesn't affect, because that's why we duplicate drawings, so everything works individually. Cool. Awesome. There you go. So we have that over there. Awesome. We have this dude over there, and then we have this tail. And the animatic, the tail was super huge, but in the final design, this is smaller. So there you go. No more gum. So now time to start designing these poses. This is the first step that I need, and now it's time to design. Cool. Before designing, so I blocked the 3D Mutant Chihuahua. Now let me turn it off. Let me turn on the air fryer, and I'm going to polish first. I'm going to design first the air fryer. So this is like design. Cool, design. And the way that I approach this is, as I mentioned, in the following way. First, I do blocking. First, I do the blocking. Then I do a design pass. And then I do the posing of the rig, posing the rig. Once I post it, after posting the rig, I do this for the keys, and then for the breakdowns, I repeat this process. For the breakdown, I repeat the process, and then for the breakdowns, I repeat this process, and then for the in-betweens, we divide the process of in-betweens into twinning, and then into step, which is putting everything on twos. Okay, and here in twinning, here I fix the rig, I take care of the secondary action, and then here in the step of twos, here what I do here is track the spacing. Here I also put the timing. Here I establish the timing. So here I track the spacing. Here I track the arcs. Here I add all the squash and the stretch that I need, and at the end I do the polish, which I will say that the polish is an extra step that I do, which is going to look something like this. And do the polish. And the polish is, I do all of this again, but just to try to track all of the stuff. Well, in the polish, yeah, I'll say like the step and twos, this will be like a polish pass. This will be like the polish pass. Cool. Awesome. So we use that process and start designing these dudes. So for this dude, look at the grid. Look at where the lines of this grid are going. That way, that way, that way. So that's how I'm going to be animating this dude. Cool. So I'm going to freehand this to design this pose. See this line, I'm building an organic construction here. I'm not just building a box. So when I'm curving these lines, because this part of the character is a curve, when I'm curving these lines, even though it's curvy, I'm following this perspective here. See, I'm curving, and then this one is following that perspective there. Boom, it's curving around there, and this one the same way, it's following that perspective there. Boom. And something very important is that most of my animation, I use my animation process, even though I'm working with rig, characters, even though I'm working with a rig approach, my process is very traditional because that's how I learned to animate in a traditional way. So I'm trying. What I do is bring back all that amazingness, all that traditional feeling of my drawings into these rigs. Look at that, and this is just a parallel of this line here. Boom. See? Bam. Here the eye, and then the horn. If this rotates, maybe this line will be something like this, more straight. The horn will be here. The eye, I will move it a little bit over there. Actually, this, I'm going to push the perspective of this because it's going this way. And this, if I draw another line over here, the other horn will be around there. Look at that. So everything feels aligned. And then the legs will be around here. We're not seeing the legs, but I might post the legs just to show you how to work in a very solid way. Bam. And then if I draw another line, boop, 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 the other leg could be around there. But just to make the character feel more grounded, I'll move it around there. Boom. There you go. No, I like that. It's with the legs open. Cool. So here the other arm. Here's where the arm is going out. So we have a straight line here and a straight line there, which is tapering towards this side. And here we're drawing these contour lines like this. Another contour line here like this. Another contour line here like that. Awesome. And then we're having the hands. I love the hand here. How the hand feels like it's like if it's were like suffering. Boom, something like that. Bam. And I'm grabbing all of this. And then doing something like that. Boom. So here in this layer is where I'm designing all my stuff. Bam, something like that. Boom. I might move this a little bit higher so we are not getting closer to this margin of the screen. And here we're going like this too. And this goes around like this, and this goes like this. So this arm is going this way in perspective, and here is going this way in perspective. See? And I'm bringing that asymmetry into my drawings. Boom. Actually, the palm, yeah, will be around there. Boom. And then here we're having these fingers. I can group these two into one shape, and this one individual shape like that. So we're having something like that. Maybe I want to spread this apart so it feels like it's suffering, like ah. So I want to open that. Boom. There you go. Much better. Much better. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. That's my rough design of this pose. So I can grab all of this, and then I can change the colors, lower the opacity, and I'll so see how I express myself super freely with my lines, and then on top of this rough sketch that I did, I'm going to design how this character will look like. So I can just literally trace with my rig on top of this. So always using my drawing skills. It's not about the technique, it's not about the tools, it's not even about the animation software. It's about the drawing skills and how I use those drawing skills to communicate or to bring to life all my crazy ideas. There you go. A little bit more rounded. See how I'm drawing around? Because I want to feel that depth here. This move up. Awesome. And then here, this is the center line of this top part, which goes all the way down like this. And even though I am not having a center line in this character, like a line to put there to move in the rig, I'm using this to guide myself of like where is the center of this character. And look, the perspective is going this way, right? So this circular part of the character will be aligned towards that way. Look at that, beautiful. Here we have this horn. So always decide, is this going to overlap this shape or stay here? I want to overlap that shape. And here will be something like this and like this. Boom. And then here we have the eye. And here we have this. Awesome. And then these arms, these hands. Boom, boom, boom. Something like that. Here, something like this. Boom. And here, something like this. Boom. So if your animations are not getting to the level that you like to get, or if you feel like your animations are feeling stiff or lack depth, it's not necessarily because how you're using the rigs or how much you practice a bouncing ball or the animation principles. It's more about your drawing skills. It's more about your drawing skills. Boom. There you go. Bam. We have one arm there, and then the other one. Boom. And then we're going like this, and then we're going like this, and then we're going like this. This will go this way like this. Boom. Boom, bam. There you go. So I can totally reduce the opacity of this, and you can see that's the design of this character. Look at how it looks grounded there. And I can totally move this if I want a little bit there to give more space to the rig of the dog to read over there. So those are some changes in the composition, the staying of the character that I'm doing here to improve some stuff. Cool. Now I'm going to bring this design layer and I'm going to bring it towards the front. Boop, 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 boop. I'll bring it towards the front. I'm going to block it. I'm going to grab the air fryer animation mode on, and I'm going to start tracing on top of this drawer. Cool. So I'll do that really fast right now. Cool. So I have the character posed here. See, the only thing that I didn't match properly was this. Not properly, well, accurately, because I have the rig already have a space between these two. So that's a space that I leave there. I should divide these pieces individually, but it's working well there. So that also helps me to keep the character consistent. What I'm going to do right now is create new drawings here for the hands. Before doing that, let me disable here the design layer and to put a render view here to look at how this looks. Look beautiful. And this is part of where is the notes that I put here. These are parts of we did the blocking, we did the design, and on top the posing the rig. So see how I pose the rig, and then what I'm going to do right now is design the hands, just clean the hands. So I'm going to do that right now. Oh yeah. Now I have to look at the line thickness of this. Let me go to the rig, to the air fryer colors line. I'm going to grab the marker number 2, the solid brush number 2, and I'm going to increase the smoothing. Awesome. And then I'm going to create a line that replicates the line thickness of the rig. Something like that will work. Yep, something like that will work. So time to design this. New drawing. Boom. Boom, look at that hand. Beautiful. And then the other one. I'll make the line a little bit thicker. Look at that. So we are done with the posing of this character here. Now let's move with the Chihuahua. Cool, let's go. So I decided to pose the other leg too, just for the sake of the video, just for also if I need to reuse this later on another future project or another future scene, sorry. Awesome. So we're done with that one. Let me block this air fryer for a bit and let me bring back the air fryer. Bam. The air fryer. The three-headed mutant chihuahua. Boom. So we have this dude here. Bam. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to start posing this dude. Cool. And here in the design layer, new layer. And this layer, trying to design this dude. So blue color, tool properties, marker number 2. This is my favorite brush into Boom. It's beautiful. What I look in the brush is that I can sculpt the opacity. Look at that. And I have the variation between thick to thin because I have a lot of freedom to communicate with my brushes, with my drawings. So let's see. The box that this character will exist within will be something like this and something like this. That will be the box that the body of the character will exist within. So here we are having the booty of the character around here, the body here. So the body will be something like this. We're having here the side view, the side plane, the top plane, side plane. So if the arms will connect somewhere, will connect around here. Something like that. And the legs could do something like that. And here I'm using this negative space to add the other leg there. Something like that. Here we're having this leg like that. Bam, look at that. Beautiful. This leg I want to look a little bit towards that side. This one I would like to look this side. Maybe I can also do something like that side. And that one I would like to do that side. So I like to create that asymmetry in my pose. Then I can one line all of this. Maybe I can do something like this here just for the sake of simplification. And then here, let me bring a little bit more towards this side. And look at how I'm working really, really, really rough because I don't want to fall in love with my lines right now. So one of the neck will be here, the other neck will be here, and the other neck will be here. See, and this neck is the one that is going to have the head around here. But before drawing the body and all of that crazy stuff, I'm going to I'm going to I'm going to be clear with the body. Cool. So I reduce the opacity. Boom. And then time to start designing. Cool. So this part of the body will go that way. Look, the perspective grid. Boom. Will go that way. Then we're having something like this, and then something like that. Boom. And I'm trying to make my lines as simple as possible. Something like this. Boom and boom. And then here we're going down. I can one line this into a C curve. See, this is a C curve. Here I can overlap this line this way. This line will go that way. And here I taper in this shape towards this side. I'm always tapering. This is something that I'm sharing many times before, and I love this concept of the volcano. So look at the lava going out of this volcano, super, super dynamic. Instead of doing this volcano that will look super dumb, and the lava will go in a super dumb way. So when I'm trying to design shapes, I'm trying to design these tapered shapes towards one side, and that will make all my shapes feel dynamic. So that's the secret to create dynamic shapes. So look at that, boom. Look at that, boom. We have there, and here we can have food, something like that. And here we're having this leg going that way, boom. We're having this leg going that way, a little bit dumb. There you go. See how I open this line, and that now it looks more dynamic. Boom. Awesome. Now it doesn't feel grounded. This food, so that's something that I'm going to fix right now. Move it a little bit that way. Now it feels grounded because I'm trying to see how the plant of the food will be in this ground like that. But now it feels beautiful. Awesome, I like this. Well, there you go. And then here the other part of the body, something like that. There you go. And here we're having something like this. Boom. Awesome. Here we're having the leg. I want to change this into be in this direction. I'm going to design that better later. I want to move this a little bit towards the inside, something like that. Boom, I feel like the leg is not grounded. This is looking towards that side, so that's something that I can fix just by rotating this thing like that. Awesome. There you go. And the other one here, will be something like that only. There you go. So now we have the body of the character there, the tail. Into something like that. Awesome. Now the neck of the character, this top part will be around here. So I can do something like that. I like all the stuff that I did here. Like, look at that overlapping lines. So that's something that I'm going to do here too. Even dragging a bit more like that way. Boom. Something like that. Haha, there you go. And then here, tapering towards this side, and then the neck could be something like this. Yeah. There you go, something like that. So I will not like the straight line there. Maybe I can do something like this instead. Yeah, pushing these shapes, finding an appealing shape here, boom, something like that. There you go. Boom, there you go. So the neck is dragging that way. Then we're having the other neck here. Here we're having this neck going towards the front. It's attacking this arm. So it's going that way. Look, it's going that way. Look, this looks like if the neck was chopped. It's going that way. And then this, I want to drag this because it's going to bite. It's going to anticipate here. Not anticipate, but it's going to be like, oh, like that. Cool. Something like that. Boom. And here, the neck of this character will follow that perspective grid that I drew. That head will follow that perspective, but I'm going to leave it there for a sec. And maybe, no, you know what? Here's where I'm going to break. So this is a box that is following the perspective perfectly. But right now, here what I'm going to do is tilt that box up because I want the head to be tilting a little bit up. So it will be something like that. So it will be something like that. Cool. There you go, because it's going to attack this arm. And this dog over here is already biting here. So cool. Let me get rid of this. So the first rough pass that I did to create the body is here. Look at how we went from this into something solid here that follows the perspective grid. And now what I'm going to do is design this head biting this arm. I want to create another layer because I don't want to do a mess there. I'm going to even use another color. And I'm going to start designing here how the head of this character will look biting this arm. And I'm trying to use here all the negative space as possible. Boom. Roar. Want this to look crazy, dude. And we're seeing the top part of the hair here. And then the ears. Then the nose. Now, in order to make this doesn't look, to avoid it look too stiff, I might even rotate this a little bit. I will rotate this. So this is the first head that I did, first iteration. Cool. Now I want something different. So copy and paste. I'll move it here. Going to reduce the opacity. Going to reduce the opacity, and on top of that, I'm going to tilt the head this way. So it looks more dynamic. Bam. I like this accident because if I were to draw this super symmetrical, this jaw will follow with the same perspective. But I like how this jaw will, in some way, tilt that way, while this is tilting that way. So it looks like cool. There you go. Bam. Now this is the body. Wait, let me get rid of this for a second. So yeah, you look like see the difference. I just tilt all of this a little bit towards that side to make it less robotic, less symmetrical. Now let's take this and put it back to the body. And now here I have to design the neck. Cool. So the neck could be something like this. And that's it. Yeah, and that's it. Bam. Look how I'm designing all of this. See? Awesome. So guess what is the next step? Is to clean this a little bit. So select strokes with current color. I'm going to group all of this. I'm going to reduce the opacity. And now I'm going to do a quick clean here of these shapes. Oh, the foot, the leg, dude. I really like that leg, but we have to sometimes do some sacrifices. I'll move it around here. Just for the sake of that negative space. Maybe I can put it around there. Yeah, that will work. I'll fix that later. And then this nose. Will be something like that. And then all of these teeth will go this way. Bam! Look at that. And then this one will go around like this. Look at that, super crazy. And then I'm going to draw around just for the sake of tracing with the rig later. Here we will need like an inside part of the mouth, just on that side, to simplify stuff. And then the teeth, I'm going to rotate towards another side to make it look like it's doing that with the mouth. Here, I want to make this a little bit more flat. And then we have the hair. I like the ears more in that way. Beautiful. And then I'll get rid of the rough pass. And that's the head. That's the head. Oops, the neck. Into something like that. Boom. Oh, now we get rid of that rough pass. Look at that. Now let's work on the other one. Let's work on the other one. I want to open this shape a little bit more like this. So now look at that dynamic shape that we created here. It's less symmetrical. And I can even move this a little bit more towards that side. So it feels like it's going like crazy, like, and we can add some stretching lines here, like this. So it's going like crazy, dude. Cool. Awesome. The head of this dude. Okay, let me change the colors of this to something soft so I can draw on top. And this is not enough information in order to create a draw over on top of this. So I will need to do another rough pass, and that's how I work with this in order to don't get attached to something and push myself. So we're having these volumes here. So the eye will be here. This is super flat, so I have to discern from this. Or I can also just, this is not serving me too much. It's going that way. Boom. I can even do something better than what I did there. So I'm trying to find ways of doing so there, here. Because it's far away in the distance, this could be smaller too. There's something in this animatic that I like more than what I am doing there. So let me just trace on top of this. So this will work as a rough pass. Let me get rid of all of this bullshit. Bam. Yeah, look at that head. Beautiful. Cheers to the Henry of the past who designed this. Brown. Then here we're having the color. We broken again. Alter Bridge, guys, amazing band. Not many people knows about it, or I think so. Look at that. That was enough. I just had to copy the pneumatic, and I had an amazing rough pass here. Ah, it looks badass, dude. Cool. So I'm going to grab all of this rough pass and I'm going to tie it down a little bit. A bit broken again. Boom. Look at that. See how I'm also tapering this shape here of the color towards the top. Rawr, boom. Cool. There you go. Now we have here the draw over. Time to put the rig on top. So I'll go fast doing that too. And by the way, I am making this into a fast time because it's just tracing. Look at how what I'm doing. There's no magic about this stuff. The magic is in the drawing. That's why I'm not skipping too much that part. There's no magic in this. Look at that. Super, super straightforward. Just moving this stuff and copying on top of what I drew. Cool. Then you'll never be broken again. So look at this. Here I'm feeling the head. The head is super big compared to the neck on the drawer that I did. That's why it's so helpful to work with bricks. So what I'm going to do right now is just grab the entire head, grab the head, pop, 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 take it out of here. See? Grab the head, pop, 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 take it out of here, bam, paste it again, and then I'm going to make this smaller. There you go, and then I can just complete this. Let's put the rig on top again. Look at how everything is looking right now. See? Everything is coming into place. So my Apple Pencil doesn't have battery. I'm waiting here. I'm waiting here, but look at how we're doing so far. It's almost there. It's almost there. That shit is broken. It's almost there. Let's put the robot on top. And look, it's 1 hour and 27 minutes. It's 1 hour and 27 minutes. Of course, I'm going to move fast, or I'm going to speed up the process that I'm just tracing on top of the drawovers, because it will make no sense just to look at me how I just trace on top of that thing. But there you go. That's how I'm going so far. Let's look at the preview, and of course, I have to clean all that weird stuff. But that's the process. Sometimes I'm like, hey, why is that I'm not doing traditionally? I ask that question to myself. Why is that I'm not doing this traditionally? This takes too much time to post the rig and all that kind of stuff. But to be honest, it actually takes even more time to clean up, to color. Imagine having to color all of this, even all of these accessories of the character and all of that. So with the rig, I can do all of this really, 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 really fast. Even though the posting takes some time, but the good thing is, like, as I move forward, as you can see here, I'm saving some poses. I'm saving some poses here. Bam, 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 bam. As I move forward, if I need any of these poses, I can totally reuse this as on future scenes. So yeah, that's the good thing. And other than that, this is the real process, and you can see how I'm using the perspective grid to draw the character on top. The same way that I drew new hands for this character for the robot is the same way that I have to draw new legs, new feet for the Chihuahua. And yeah, it's just like that. And also it helps to keep the overall project consistent when I'm working with bricks. So I will wait for this Apple Pencil to charge, and I'll be back. Time to continue. So I was posing this dude. So here, when I'm right now designing this part of the hair, I feel like I can do something better. So I'm going to boom, 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 boom. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to use this negative space here to animate the hair. So here I have this part here, yeah, chill. But I can use that one too. But here I can do something better. So maybe it's doing something like that. An S. This is dragging that way. Here we're having a little part of the hair that way. So we can have something like this. Look at that, bam. And of course we can still have this part here, bam. Cool. So that may be something that I'll prefer. Let's see another possibility, another hairstyle here. There you go, that looks more 3D. So this is going this way, this is going that way. Look at that, instead of just a flat shape. And then of course we connect this with this. Into something like that, and then this will go like that. Boom, into something like that. That is better, much better than this. So let's go back to the rig and pose this hair like that. See how I pushed this a little bit higher, because it was like this, and it looked like an even shape, like a super symmetrical shape here. So I'm pushing this a little bit higher to create more of a dynamic shape, like the volcano, remember? Boom. There you go, something like that. And Henry, how said you were going to get rid of that? I'll fix that later in the polish pass. I'll make add a cutter and then just get rid of that part. There you go. There you go. Go, 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 go. Bam. Cool. Look at that. Look at that. Let's look at the preview here. Something that I want to do is that I scale this up. So line thickness became thicker. So I'm going to scale it down to preserve the same thickness and then just move the deformers. Awesome. There you go. That's the pose. Oh, I needed inner mouth here. Awesome. There you go. We have the character pose. Wait. Beautiful. Now, let's look at how this looks with the air fryer. Oopsie. These have to go behind. Beautiful. There you go. That's the first pose. That's the first pose. Let me clean a little bit here. Cool. There you go. It took some time. It took some time, but this is the pose. This is the first pose, and once this pose is ready, because it is ready, I'm going to move into animating the other part, the other poses. Let's look at the animatic. Let's look at the animatic. Boom. And boom. Let's look at solo the animatic. We have this, and then boom, this, bam, bam, bam. So in the next video, I'm going to pose the other dude and the robot rotating. I'm going to pose this dude biting the thing. So we're going to start animating, like posing that dude, posing the robot, and then adding some breakdowns and adding some also some speed lines here in the neck. So it feels like it's going like stretching like crazy. Cool. And yeah. This is the process. This is how I start an animation. It's super important to be aware of the perspective lines. Oopsie, what the heck, I totally forgot about the food. Forget about my goodbye. So I moved the leg here a little bit towards the inside to create a better silhouette with the arm, because it was creating some weird stuff. And I might also grab the arm and just extend it a little bit towards the side so I don't have any tangents. Better. Cool. There you go. Now we are ready. Now we're ready. This is my approach when starting the scene. This is how I start the scene. This is how I do my posing pass. Oopsie, I might move this a little. I might move this a little bit here. Second time that I say goodbye in the video. Bam. Now I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there, and then I'll just keep improving this as I move forward, because we need to continue. But other than that, there you go. We're going there. This is the first step. That's why it's so important to start to have a strong drawing fundamental, strong drawing skills, so the risk never is a limitation of the ideas that we have in our mind. So hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I always forget to say this in the end. And if you have some animators friend that you think this might be useful for them, feel free to share it. And I hope this helps as much as it helps you. So I'll see you next time. Bye.